Hi, welcome to DTKSS. In the current video session, we are going to discuss about how to create the DevOps account. Basically, you can create the DevOps account using either GitHub account or using the Microsoft account. So in this current video session, I am going to use the Microsoft account to create the DevOps account and to perform the build operations, etc. So I'm going to click on the Start Free. So this has redirected to my other account, so I want to log in using different account. So I'm going to use that T2K software solutions at gmail.com. Then click next, enter the password and sign on. Then it will ask you the name, your name, and the account and from which country. Click on continue. Now the account is created. So what is our next step? So we have to set up the organization. We have to create a new organization. Click on the new organization and continue. So you can give whatever it name. I'm just keeping as it is, and you need to enter the captcha characters like YW4HWDDD. Click on continue. So now we are creating the organization with T2K software solution. So that is the organization name. So now our organization is created, T2K software solutions. Then the project name will be, you can choose whatever it name. I'm going to choose web application 1. So here you can able to choose either public project or private project. So here it was telling that public projects are disabled for your organization. You can turn on the public visibility with organization policies. So I'll just choosing the private project and click next. So when I click next, so I have redirected to the my default Azure DevOps page. So here you can see whatever we discussed in our previous video sessions like Azure boards, Azure repos, pipelines, test plans, artifacts, dashboard. So here in the dashboard you can able to add the widgets like you can able to see the number of tasks being assigned to you. So add the widget. So when you click on add widget, it was showing the widget list available. You can able to add here. For example, I have choosing that assigned to me, and I have chosen border chart. So like the way you can able to choose whatever the items you have been required, you can able to choose that. So I was very much interested to talk in this session is organization settings. So we have created organizations. So you can able to modify the organizations and you can apply the policies and permissions and you can add the projects, you can add the users, etc. So here these projects, so you can create the new project. For example, web application 2. So like the way you can able to add the another project. So just create, and here you can able to add your users, like you can able to add your team members using here. So add users. So you can choose the access level, who is the permissions and the project. So you can give the specific project also. For example, there is multiple projects is running in your organization. So particular user you can give only for that particular project, and this is about the billing. So you can access the billing from here. And the very important thing is policies. You can able to add third party application access via OAuth, allow the public projects, and save. Now when you go to the create new project, you can able to create the public project as well, and the permissions. So here by default you get some permissions has been interfaced, inherited. So then you can able to add any group of permissions and you can assign to the users which you have been created. And the board process, here you can able to choose the, by default it contains the 4 processes. One is basic, so the template is flexible for any process and great for the teams getting started with Azure DevOps. So whatever the projects we have created under this is 2 projects is falls under the basic process, since it was the by default it was selecting. But when you are creating the project, you can able to choose which project or which process you want to adapt for that particular project. So either you can able to adapt the Agile, Scrum, CMMI, and Agile pools. So by default, you will have the Agile pipelines. So this is the default configurations, and repos contains the repositories, etc. So now we go already in the process. Might be I'll choose Agile will be my default process. So set as default. So when I go to the project, create the new project. Now see, earlier before I update this the permissions, the policies, it was by default it was like that. It was not allowed the public project. So when I go and create the new project, this public project was disabled to me by default. So what it was to indicate me is public projects are default for your organization. You can turn on the public visibility with organization policies. Here you can able to choose the version control, whether it is Git or TFS version control, and you can able to choose which work process you want to create. For example, if you want to create with CMMI, then I will create this as a web application 3. So you can able to choose which process you want to adapt to deliver the project, whether you want to go with Agile or CMMI, or which version control you want to choose. By default it will select the Git. So I'm just leaving as version control is Git, and I'm choosing Scrum, and I'm going to give the description also web application 3 and create. So like the way when you go to the policies, just enable the create the project, and now go back to that and create one more project is web application 4, and just give the description. So I'm just giving for example, so you can give the relevant. And as you can choose whatever it may be. So just click on the create. And the one more important is you can able to connect to the Azure Active Directory to get the users from the Azure Active Directory, and you can give the add them into the project. You can add them into the project. Otherwise, if you are not integrated with Azure Active Directory, you can add your by manually, and you can choose that. For example, you are going to give the name and click add. So I'll give my other email ID and add to the project, add. So now the new user be added. And then we talk about parallel jobs. So this parallel jobs is like when you define the pipeline, you can run the multiple jobs. So when pipeline runs, for example, you don't have enough parallel jobs to your organization, then the jobs being configured under that pipeline will run one and after. So that is the difference. So here if you can see that for private projects you have one parallel job, and public projects you have zero parallel jobs. So to get these parallel jobs to be enabled, you need to write an email to the Microsoft team to get permission. So I will demonstrate when we are creating a build pipeline. I will demonstrate how you can write email to the Microsoft team to enable this parallel job, because since you are using the free plan, then you will not get the parallel job, public project parallel job, and for private projects you got one parallel job. So this is about organization settings. Then I will go to the, so since we have four web applications, so first two has created with base process, and this is Scrum and Agile. So I'll open the web application one and go to the project settings. So basic difference is project configuration, like you can have the sprints, so you can create the new sprint, and you can add the child items, you can create new child items, and the team configuration, you can configure the teams. So you can see the backlog items, what is the levels it is having is only epics and issues for the basic area. But when I go to the web application 3, you will see the difference project settings and team configuration. It contains the features, backlog items, and epics. So this epics is not being selected by default when you create the process. So if you need the epics to that project, you can enable and you can save it. So this is the one difference, like when you want to choose a different process. So when I want the features, epics and work items, then I will go with the agile process. And also you can configure the working days. Here in this team configuration, you can configure the working days. So capacity. So when you are planning the capacity, you can it will be configuration allow to you to plan the capacity planning for the resources. So that feature will be available in sprints, both sprints, so you can configure the capacity. So for example, this resource for the development 8 hours per day. So this is the configuration for me. So you can add the number of developers, and you can see that how many days it will take the sprint to complete. For example, you have multiple sprints is there. So based on this capacity, you can able to configure those things. I will discuss in detail about this capacity planning later sessions. So I want to give you an overview why we use these settings, like in the project setting, team configuration. So why we use these working days, all those things. And this is the navigation levels, like backlogs we will use to create the issues or the features or the work items. So this is about the navigation levels. And working with bugs. So bugs are managed with requirements, bugs are managed with tasks, bugs are not managed with backlogs and boards. So by default it was selected the bugs are managed with the requirement. So that's all about this working with bugs. So we'll go in detail when we are using the boards. So these are all the project level settings. So whatever we configure the organization, it will applicable for all the projects under that organization. So when you go for to the specific project, whatever you are modifying this project setting, it will be specific to that project and you can able to configure what the project needs. So that's all about the Azure DevOps creation and walking through the different of the configuration steps. Thank you.